All right, and then it flies away. All right, and then you'll notice that also as soon as it flies away, the wire just disappeared. So the other thing that we might want to do is have the opacity of that wire just fade out right at the very end. Maybe right about here where the bird is off of the wire, maybe somewhere in here. And so to do that, I'll put the playback head here, go back over here to effect control, and then for the opacity, we'll open this up and I can set a keyframe. All right, and I want the keyframe to stay at 100%. And then at the very end of the clip, I'll set another keyframe, and that's where I will change the opacity so that it is set to 0, so that the opacity will quickly drop off and just fade out instead of just disappearing. Okay, you see it fades away. All right, so that's not too bad. Okay, and I just went and I unmuted the audio clip because I want to hear now what's going on so I know what to do next.
Or in a stop sign.
Okay, so I'm talking about a stop sign right here. Well, I have a stop sign video, so if I go over back to my project 1 pane here, then I can find my stop sign video, right? And then if I want to look up here at my source monitor just to see what that stop sign is, I can drag it up here and take a peek at it. And you see it's just a really short video, a still video of a stop sign. Okay, so let me find on this audio track exactly where I'm talking about stop with the word stop. So I'm going to actually expand this out some more so I can see the waveform better.
Or in a stop.
Okay, so it looks like the word stop begins about right here at about 9:12, let's say.
Stop sign.
Okay, so maybe a little bit before 9:12. Let's try there. 9:10.
Stop sign.
Yeah. Okay, I think that it's about right here. So at about 9:08, which is almost right at the end of the clip. Okay, but if you were to expand this out, you'll see that it, oh, I guess it does butt right up against the clip. Okay, so we can drag that so that it butts right up against the clip. And let's see how that works. So I'm just going to drag the stop sign over here. I could, either way, it doesn't matter. I could drag it up this way or that way. Okay, and let's see what happens.
Or in a stop sign. Graphically speaking.
Okay, let's try it again.
Point. Or in a stop sign.
It looks like the stop sign is coming in a little bit like a split second too fast, kind of. So let's expand it back out. And then we'll move it. Let's put the playback head 1 frame forward. And it might be about right there. And it'll snap to the playback head. So let's see what happens.
Or in a stop sign.
That's a little bit better. Okay, so you can be that finicky with it by dragging this timeline in and out, by looking at the time signature here. If you want to actually type the exact time signature right there, then you can go ahead and put the exact time point right there if you want, if you know what it is. Okay, and so now that the stop sign pops into the screen, one of the things you'll notice is that, again, we have this background that we might want to key out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we can do it exactly the same way we did before. So I'm going to go over here to Effects, and here's my Ultra key. It's still pulled up from the last time I searched for it. I'm going to pull Ultra key onto the stop sign, and then over here in Effect Controls, I'm going to find where that is. I'm going to make sure also that my playback head is at the beginning. So if I hold down Shift, it'll snap to the beginning of the clip on the timeline. And I could also have dragged it to the beginning right here, up in the effect controls. All right, so I'm going to grab my eyedropper and I'm going to key out, one of the colors here, just sort of make a decision on which color it is. And if I want to try different colors, I could, so it just really depends on what you're looking for. It looks like that's a little bit too much. I don't want to do it that way. Let's choose something like somewhere in there and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to open this back up again so that I can see it in a larger screen, and also that way I can see my drop downs as well. And I'm going to open up matte generation, and let's look at highlight, since highlight is a big one right now. And let's see what happens if we pull highlight up, or pull it down actually. And then let's take a peek at shadow. And then we actually might want to turn the shadow. You know what? Actually, I think I want to take a sample from something that's a little bit bluer, like maybe in here, because right now it's just picking up too much of the white. So let's try doing that instead. All right, so let's go back here and let's adjust the shadow. And you see that the shadow now, if we pull that all the way back up, we can also adjust the tolerance in the pedestal. Okay, and let's just see what if we leave the tolerance there and then turn the pedestal up. And that's helping a lot. Okay, so that got a lot of the stuff on the perimeter out. All right, and let's take a look now at our matte cleanup. And let's adjust the choke. Let's turn that all the way up. Let's see what, if we do soften, it's helping. Contrast usually is going to help for something like this a lot, you see there. And let's try midpoint. Let's even see, yeah, let's turn the midpoint up. And let's go to spill suppression. And I don't want to desaturate this, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what happens if we turn the range up. And you know what? One of the things that I can see is that there's this sort of bluish white color. And maybe if we turn the range up a little bit, I don't know, somewhere around here, that might make it a little bit of a warmer color. And I'm probably going to leave the lumina the same. And yeah, let's just leave that to reset it. Doesn't seem to be making an adjustment. Same is true for the actual spill. And finally, let's look at the color. And let's look at increasing the saturation, just because I think it'd be nice if this was a lot more saturated, somewhere like in the ballpark of, I don't know, like 180 or so. And that's like a really bright red. And I'm going to leave the hue the same because I want it to start off red. And then let's change the luminance so that it's a little bit brighter, you know, somewhere in this ballpark, I think. Okay, and then we still have some stuff down here that we can't seem to get rid of no matter, you know, what we try up here. So there's some other keying options that you have as well. And we can go down here and we can look for them. Let's open this up a little bit. And first of all, you need to get rid of this in your search so that it goes away. And then you can open up video effects and we can go back down to keying again. Okay, and then there are all these other keying options. And so one of the things that we're going to choose is this one called Luma key. And so I'm going to drag that on top, and you can see it's starting to mess around. And one of the reasons that I think that Luma will be good is because this is dealing with the luminance down at the bottom. Okay, so we need to adjust the threshold and the cutoff, and let's turn this down so that we don't lose the actual stop sign. So maybe somewhere in this range, but let's turn the cutoff up, and you see it gets rid of that stuff at the bottom, which is perfect. And it's right about in here that we want to get rid of that. And if you want to make the screen larger so you can make sure that it still looks pretty good, I think that that looks pretty good for what we need it to do. Okay, and so that's I think a pretty good rendition of what we've got. And so let's try that now.
Or in a stop sign, graphically.
Okay, and so if we also want to adjust our timeline so that we can see more of it, let's come back. And you're going to see that the text about the stopping and the stop sign is longer than the actual clip. So let's see what we can do about that.
Some point. Or in a stop sign. Graphically speaking, they're succinct and fundamentally beautiful in their.
Okay, and so that kind of disappears. The other thing that we could do too that's kind of nice is if you listen to the words, it's talking about how a stop sign is graphically beautiful and so forth, and ultimately that it's about something that's going to inspire change. So the other thing that we could think about if we wanted to is how we could actually key this so that the color would change on a stop sign, which is kind of interesting because you know, stop signs are always red. So let's go ahead and let's find our effect controls again. Let's select our stop sign, and let's look over here and find the Ultra key. And originally I'd said, oh, let's leave the color alone. But if we're gonna, I want it to start off at red. Let's find the beginning there. Okay, so that's the beginning. So I want it to start at red, but let's say that we want to change it so that by the time the animation is done, that it's sort of a green color. So first thing we need to do is go ahead and for the Ultra key, we need to create, let's go to color correction, and we're going to change the hue. So let's drop down the hue, and we're going to create a keyframe for the hue at the very beginning. And then if we drag the playhead all the way to the end of that clip, then we can make it so that it is, let's back it up one frame. We can make it so that it is a different color, and we can change the hue so that it's like maybe like this kind of bright greenish color, okay? Something like that. And then if we drag the playback head, you can see how it changes over time. Okay, now you're like I said before, you notice that we don't finish talking about this until well after the clip is over. Okay, so what we can also do is we can duplicate this now that we have an effect on it. We can duplicate it by clicking and holding Option and dragging it on the timeline. Okay, and then if you want it to snap, now we can just drag it and it snaps. But the problem is, you see that it flashes red again. So the other thing that we can do is now select the second clip, and let's change it so that the keys are different. All right, so that at this keyframe, we now have it, well, first of all, let's see what this level is. So if you go over here and we look at what this keyframe's level is versus the other one, let's go ahead and hit that keyframe, and if we hit, we'll snap to it, and we can jump back. Okay, you can see that it's at about 128.1. So what we can do for this one is we can change the first keyframe. Well, first of all, while we're on this keyframe, we can change it back to what the original one was. Let's see, and that would have been 0. Okay, so if we're on that keyframe, we can just double check to make sure we're at the end, and we are. We're on that keyframe, we can change this value here to 0 by just typing it in. Okay, but then we can go back to the beginning where we snap it, and then we can change the beginning keyframe by, we have to select it, and then we can change it to 128.1. Okay, and then it should be a pretty seamless transition. Okay, let's try it.
Or in a stop sign. Graphically speaking, they're succinct and fundamentally beautiful in their elemental nature. And well,
okay. So if I wanted to take another one of these stop signs, but maybe not from here because I don't want the existing effect. Well, yeah, I will take it from here actually. Then what I could do is find the place where I want to make it change. So let's listen.
Nature. And well, they also inspire change.
Right about the place where I say the word change. So right about here is what I'm thinking. So at about 1801, we could add the stop sign again. I'm going to click and drag my first one, so it'll at least start off as red so we can kind of see the red. And then when I select, make sure you select that clip if you're following along or doing something similar to yours. Then you could come in and just remove that keyframe that makes the hue change. Okay, so to do that really simply, you see this little toggle animation button. It looks like a stopwatch kind of. You can click that and it'll tell you, hey, this is going to remove your existing keyframes. Do you want to continue? It'll just remove it for the hue. So I'm going to say yes or okay. And then it sets everything back to just plain old red, which is what I want to start off with right now because I want to make some changes here. Where it starts talking about change. And we're going to do that in the next video. So go ahead and pause this here and then move to the next video.